The most dangerous lie you can tell yourself is this: I'll start tomorrow because tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And before you know it, you're standing in a doctor's office at 38 years old being told you have 5 years left to live. Kenji Yamamoto heard those words on a Tuesday morning in Tokyo. 5 years, maybe less. His body was destroying itself. Not from cancer, not from accident, from choices. 15 years of small, seemingly harmless choices. Family fried chicken, strong zero alcohol, convenience store bentos, eaten at his desk while working 14-hour days. One small compromise, then another, until at 38, he weighed 132 kilograms and couldn't remember what his body felt like before it started hurting all the time. Type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, blood pressure, so high he could stroke out at any moment. He tried to change. God, he tried. Gym memberships, crash diets, promises to quit drinking. Every attempt followed the same pattern. Massive motivation on day 1, complete collapse by day 7. But here's what nobody told Kenji, what nobody tells any of us. The system that destroys you works in reverse. If 1% worse every day leads to death, then 1% better every day leads to life. His grandfather knew this, wrote it in a journal in 1952 while working at Toyota, left it behind like a roadmap for descendants who would one day lose their way. And that journal? It didn't just save Kenji's life, it's about to save yours. Chapter 1. The Convenience Store. Death, Tokyo, September 2023, Shibuya. The alarm screamed at 6 a.m. Kenji silenced it and immediately regretted being conscious. Headache from last night's strong zero. 4 cans or 5. His mouth tasted like something died. His stomach pressed painfully against his side as he lay there, 132 kilograms stuffed into a tiny one-room apartment. 38 years old, salaryman at a mid-tier trading company, single, alone, dying slowly and knowing it. He rolled out of bed, literally rolled because sitting up directly made him dizzy, and caught his reflection in the bathroom mirror. When did this happen? His face was round, puffy, eyes swollen with permanent bags underneath skin, that grayish tone that comes from alcohol and processed food replacing actual nutrition. But it was the belly that made him look away, hanging over his boxer shorts, making him look 50 instead of 38. This is what 15 years of convenience store food looks like. The pattern had started innocently. 23 years old, new job, long hours, easier to grab Family Mart bentos than cook. Faster to drink high than deal with the stress. One small compromise, then another, and another, and another. Until at 38, Kenji literally couldn't remember the last time he'd cooked actual food. Couldn't remember the last day he didn't drink. Couldn't remember what his body felt like before it started hurting all the time. The doctor's appointment was at 10 a.m. annual company health screening. Kenji had avoided checking the results from last year, shoved them in a drawer, pretended they didn't exist. But this year, HR made it mandatory to discuss results with the company doctor. No choice. The commute was hell. Chew line during rush hour. Packed so tight breathing was difficult. Kenji took up more space than he should. Could feel people's irritation. The way they shifted away. The judgment. In Tokyo, where everyone is slim and disciplined, being fat is being visible. At the clinic, the nurse called his name. Blood pressure first. Last year, 165 over 105. Dangerously high. The cuff squeezed, beeped. 170 over 110, the nurse said, concern in her voice. Mr. Yamamoto, this is very high. Have you been taking your medication? I don't have medication. The doctor prescribed it. Last year, I didn't fill the prescription. Her face showed what she thought of that decision. Blood test next, then weight, then body composition. Then waiting in the small room while the doctor reviewed everything. Dr. Tanaka entered, 50-some tired eyes that had seen this story too many times. Mr. Yamamoto, your results are concerning. He laid out the papers. Weight 132 kilograms, BMI 39.8, obese class 2, blood pressure 170 over 110, stage 2, hypertension, HbA1c 7.8%, 8% diabetes, uncontrolled liver enzymes, as EST78, ALT9, 5 fatty liver disease, total cholesterol 267. dangerously high. You have type 2 diabetes, your liver is failing, your blood pressure could cause stroke at any moment. Yamamoto. The doctor paused, made eye contact. At this rate you have maybe 5 years, your body cannot sustain this. 5 years at 38, what do I do? Kenji heard the desperation in his own voice. Lose weight, stop drinking, exercise, eat properly, take your medications. The usual advice that never worked, that Kenji had heard before and failed to follow 100 times. I've tried. I always fail. Then try differently, because if you don't, you'll die young. It's that simple. After the appointment, Kenji walked Tokyo streets in a daze. 5 years. The words kept echoing. He found himself in front of Family Mart, his daily stop, the place that had slowly killed him for 15 years. But now, standing there, he couldn't go in. Couldn't buy the fried chicken and strong zero that would speed up the timer to 5 years. But he also couldn't not go in, because what else was there? Cooking required energy he didn't have. Sobriety required facing thoughts he couldn't bear. Change required willpower that depleted after one day. His phone rang. Grandmother Kenji-kun, I haven't heard from you in weeks. Are you okay? He couldn't say it, couldn't admit he was dying at 38 from his own choices. Not really. Obach. Anne. Silence. Then come visit me Sunday. I have something that might help. What is it? Your grandfather's journal. From when he worked at Toyota before he got sick. He wrote about something called Kaizen. I think you need to read it. Kenji had heard the word continuous improvement. Some factory philosophy. A factory system won't fix my life. Maybe not. But your grandfather used it to quit smoking after 30 years, to lose 20 kilograms, to change everything when he thought it was too late. Just come read it, then decide. That night, Kenji stood in his apartment surrounded by evidence of his habits. Empty, strong zero cans, Family Mart wrappers, unwashed dishes, unchanged clothes, the physical manifestation of 15 years of bad choices. And somewhere in all that mess, a question formed. What if the doctor was wrong? What if 5 years wasn't fixed? What if there was a way? Not through dramatic transformation that never worked, but through something else. He'd find out Sunday. Chapter 2. The Grandfather's Secret. Sunday, grandmother's house, Saitama. The train took 2 hours. Kenji bought 3 onigiri at the station, ate them all before Shinjuku. By the time he reached his grandmother's traditional house, he was already hungry again. That's what junk food did. Never satisfied, always wanting more. She opened the door, 87 years old, tiny but sharp eyes that missed nothing. Kenji-kun, you look. She didn't finish. Both knew. Inside, she brought green tea and a small wooden box, opened it to reveal a leather journal worn used. The cover read, Yamamoto Tishi, 1952. Your grandfather, she said, worked at Toyota after the war. Japan was destroyed. Companies were failing. But Toyota had this new philosophy, Kaizen, continuous improvement. Your grandfather learned it there, and he used it to change his life. He was like you once, smoking 2 packs a day, overweight, drinking too much, stressed from work. At 50 years old, his doctor said the same thing yours said, change or die. But your grandfather discovered something at Toyota that saved him. Not willpower, not motivation, a system. He wrote everything in this journal. She handed it to Kenji with both hands, read the first entry. Kenji opened to page 1. The handwriting was precise. Tokyo 1952. I am 50 years old. The doctor says I have heart disease, that I must change everything immediately. Stop smoking, lose weight, exercise. I have tried this before, many times. Always failed because change everything is impossible. The human mind resists complete transformation. But at Toyota, I learned something different. Something that saved the company. Something that might save me. Kaizen Gaisen. Continuous improvement. Not big changes, small changes. So small they don't trigger resistance. 1% better every day. That's all. Today I will smoke 1 fewer cigarette than yesterday. Not quit. Not go from 2 packs to 0. Just 1 fewer. Tomorrow 1 fewer. Again, this feels ridiculous. Meaningless. What is 1 cigarette? But the Toyota engineers taught me 1% improvement compounded daily equals 37 times improvement in 1 year. Not 37%. 37 times. This is not motivation, this is mathematics. If you are reading this, perhaps my son, perhaps my grandson, and you are in crisis like I was, know this. Dramatic change fails. Micro change succeeds. Start with 1% today. Kenji read it 3 times. His grandfather at 50 facing death discovering this system. Did it work? Kenji asked. Look at the last entry. Kenji flipped to the end. Tokyo, 1953. 1 year, 365 days of 1% improvements. I quit smoking, completely lost. 18 kilograms. Blood pressure normal, heart disease reversed. Doctor says I added 20 years to my life. Not through heroic effort, through daily. 1% changes so small I barely noticed them individually, but compounded, everything changed. This is car. Isn't this saved my life? If you are reading this and need savings, start with 1%. Today, his grandfather lived to 82, 32 years after the doctor said he'd die within 5. Obakan, how do I start? Same way he did. Choose one bad habit, reduce it by 1%. Just one. That's all you do today. Which habit? The easiest one, the one you can definitely do, because success matters more than size of change. Kenji thought about his habits. Family Mart fried chicken every dinner. Strong Zero every night. 4 cans minimum. Convenience store breakfast. No exercise, no cooking, no vegetables. Where to even start? The Strong Zero. He said, last night I drank 4. Tonight I'll drink 3. Just 3. Just 3. 1 fewer, 1% better. His grandmother smiled. Then you've already begun. Take the journal, read 1 entry each night, follow his system exactly, and remember, your grandfather was 50 when he started. You're 38. You have more time to compound the improvements. On the train back, Kenji read more entries. Each one detailed a small change. Each one explained why it worked. Each one emphasized the same principle, 1% every day, no exceptions. That night, standing in his apartment with 4 cans of Strong Zero in his hand, Kenji put 1 back in the fridge. 3 cans only, 1 fewer than usual, barely noticeable. But he'd kept his word to his grandmother, to his grandfather's memory, to himself. Day 1 of 1% improvement. Chapter 3, The Microscopic Discipline. Week 1, September 2023. The journal entry for day 2 was simple. The second day is when most people add too much too fast. They feel good from day 1 success and think if 1% works, 10% works better. No, resistance activates at 10%. You burn out. You quit. Day 2, keep the same 1% you started, nothing more. Build the habit of consistency before building the size of change. Day 2, Kenji drank 3 Strong Zeros again and ate Family Mart fried chicken again, and did nothing else different. It felt wrong. Like he wasn't doing enough. Like 1 fewer drink was meaningless when he needed to lose 40 kilograms and cure diabetes. But the journal said, trust the system. So he did. Day 3. 3 Strong Zeros plus 1 small change. He drank 1 bottle of water before his first morning coffee. That's it. Water before coffee. Not drink 8 glasses daily, just 1 before coffee. Day 4. 3 Strong Zeros, water before coffee. Plus, he bought 1 apple from the convenience store. Didn't eat it instead of fried chicken. Ate it in addition to fried chicken, but still 1 piece of fruit. Day 5, same habits. Then added 1 push-up before bed. 1, not 10, not 20, 1 push-up. His arms shook, his face went red, but he did 1. The journal entry that night. You will feel foolish. 1 push-up doesn't build strength. 1 apple doesn't reverse diabetes. 1 fewer drink doesn't cure alcoholism. You are correct, they don't. But you're not building the outcome yet. You're building the system, the habit of keeping promises to yourself, the identity of being someone who does what he says. That identity, once built, will support much larger changes, but it must be built first. With changes so small, failure is impossible. By end of week 1, Kenji had maintained 5 tiny changes for 7 consecutive days. 3 Strong Zeros, not 4. Water before coffee, 1 apple daily, 1 push-up nightly, reading 1 journal entry before bed. His body looked identical. Scale showed 132 kilograms. Still, Co-workers noticed nothing, but internally something was forming, a structure made of kept micro-promises. Chapter 4. The Resistance. Week 4, October 2023. The journal warned about Week 4. This is when the crisis comes. Initial motivation fades. The 1% changes feel pointless. Old habits scream loudly. You will want to quit. Do. Not quit. Week 4 separates those who transform from those who dream about transforming. If you survive Week 4, you will survive to transformation. Day 22. Kenji woke up wanting to quit everything. The habits felt burdensome. 3 strong zeros instead of 4 felt like deprivation. 1 apple felt like performance. Water before coffee felt like meaningless ritual. And for what? 3 weeks in, he still looked the same, still fat, still unhealthy, still dying. What was the point? He skipped the water that morning, went straight to coffee, felt guilty immediately but rationalized it. It's just water. Doesn't matter. At work, he bought the fried chicken for lunch, not from Family Mart, from the actual fast food place that had even more calories. If he was dying anyway, might as well enjoy it. By evening, he stood in his apartment with 4 strong zero cans, ready to drink all of them, ready to prove that he was right all along. He couldn't change, would never change, was destined to die at 43, just like the doctor predicted. Then his phone rang. Grandmother Kenji-kun, how is the Kaizen going? I'm struggling. Obachan, Week 4. How did you know? Your grandfather wrote about it. Week 4 almost killed him too. Let me read you something. He heard pages turning. Then his grandmother's voice reading from the journal. Week 4. I wanted to smoke an entire pack to prove to myself that this was all pointless, that I'd always be a smoker. But then I realized the urge to quit proves the system is working. My brain is fighting because it knows change is happening. Resistance only activates when transformation threatens the status quo. So I made one choice. I didn't try to maintain all my changes. Just one. The smallest one. 1 fewer cigarette than yesterday. I kept that one promise. That's all. And by keeping one, the others felt possible again. If you are in Week 4, do this. Choose your smallest change. Keep only that one today. Tomorrow, add the others back. But today, prove you can keep one promise even when everything feels impossible. Kenji-kun, his grandmother said gently, what's your smallest change? The water before coffee. Can you do just that right now? Kenji looked at the kitchen, walked over, filled a glass of water, drank it before his evening coffee. One kept promise. Then he thought, I already did that. May as well do the push-up. 1 push-up, arms shaking, but he did it. Then I already did 2 things. May as well skip the 4th strong zero. By the time he went to bed, he'd maintained all 5 habits. Not because he wanted to, because he'd proven with the water that he could keep one promise. And 1 led to 2, 2 led to 5. Week 4 survived. The journal entry that night. The day you almost quit but didn't, that's the day transformation became inevitable, because you proved you can recover. That failure isn't permanent. That one broken promise doesn't justify complete surrender. This is the difference between those who change and those who stay the same. Not perfection, but recovery. Chapter 5. The compound begins. Week 12, December 2023. 3 months, 90 days of 1% improvements, 127 kilograms. 5 kilograms lost. Not dramatic, but real. More importantly, the habits had evolved. Kenji now drank 2 strong zeros on weekends only, was drinking 4 every night. Drank water before every meal, not just morning coffee. Ate 1 piece of fruit daily. Had become automatic. Did 10 push-ups nightly. Started at 1. Walked 15 minutes after dinner. New addition. Week 8. Cooked 1 real meal per week. Started week 10. None of these felt hard anymore. They'd become automatic, part of who he was, not things he did. At work, a colleague noticed, Yamamoto-san, you look different. Have you lost weight a little? Diet? Not really, just small NGs. He didn't explain. And Kaizen didn't mention 1% improvements because the system was private, personal, not performed for others. Week 12 was also when something unexpected happened. He stopped wanting strong zero, not consciously, not through willpower. But his body, after 3 months of reduced alcohol, no longer craved it the same way. 2 cans on Friday felt like enough. Sometimes he only wanted 1. His identity had shifted. He wasn't trying not to drink. He was someone who drank moderately, different identity, different behavior, no effort required. The journal entry for week 12. By 3 months you will notice the compound effect beginning. Changes that felt impossible in week 1 now feel natural. This is not because you built willpower, it's because you built identity. Every 1% improvement is a vote for the type of person you're becoming. After 90 votes, that person starts to feel real. You're not someone trying to be healthy. You're someone who is becoming healthy. This shift from trying to being is when transformation accelerates. Chapter 6. The Medical Proof. Week 24. March 2024. 6 months, 180 days of 1% daily improvements. 117 kilograms, 15 kilograms lost. But Kenji knew numbers on a scale weren't the real test. The real test was the company health screening, same clinic, same Dr. Tanaka, same blood tests that 6 months ago had sentenced him to death. Kenji sat in the waiting room, more nervous than he'd been in years, because this would prove whether Kaizen actually worked or was just psychological comfort while his body continued failing. The nurse called his name. Blood pressure first. 148/92, she said, surprise in her voice. Much better than last time. Yamamoto-san. Still high but significantly improved from 170/110 to 148/92 in 6 months. Blood tests next weight body composition, then the longest week of his life. Waiting for results. Finally, the letter arrived. Ed. Kenji opened it with shaking hands. Weight, 117 kilograms previous, 132 kilograms, 15 kilograms. Blood pressure, 148/92 previous, 170/110. Improve, Dr. Tanaka's note at bottom. Mr. Yamamoto, I don't know what you're doing, but continue. These improvements are remarkable. Your diabetes is under better control. Your liver is healing. Your blood pressure is improving. You are literally reversing the damage. This is not common. Whatever system you're following, don't stop. Kenji read it 5 times, sat on his apartment floor and cried. Not from joy. Exactly. From relief, from validation, from proof that the tiny changes weren't meaningless. They were literally saving his life. That evening he called his grandmother, Obachan. It worked. The blood tests, everything improved. Grandfather was right. He heard her crying on the other end. Tishi would be so proud. You did what he did. You saved yourself through 1% improvements. I'm not done yet. Still overweight. Still have more to change. But you've proven it's possible. That's everything. That night's journal entry. 6 months in, you will see objective proof, numbers on paper, medical evidence. This is when belief becomes certainty. You no longer wonder if Kaizen works. You know it does, because the results are undeniable. But here's the trap. Success creates temptation to accelerate. If 1% gave this result, imagine 5%. Resist. The system works because it's sustainable. Maintain your 1%. Trust the compound effect to continue whether you see it or not. Kenji understood. 6 months of 1% had created transformation he couldn't have forced through willpower, and 12 more months would create transformation he couldn't even imagine yet. The compound effect was just beginning. Chapter 7. The Transformed Life. 1 year, September 2024. 365 days, 52 weeks, 1 year of 1% daily improvements. Kenji stood in his apartment, which he'd cleaned and organized 3 months ago, as another tiny improvement, and barely recognized himself. 102 kilograms, 30 kilograms lost from 132 to 102 in 12 months. But the numbers were the least interesting part. The real changes were alcohol. 1 drink on Friday, 1 on Saturday, 0 during week. Had stopped entirely for a month. Realized he didn't actually want it anymore. Food. Cooking 5 meals per week. Real food. Still ate convenience store sometimes, but it was choice, not default. Had stopped craving fried chicken. Body wanted vegetables now. Exercise, walking 30 minutes daily, doing 50 push-ups nightly. Had joined the company sports club, played tennis on Saturdays, sleep, natural wake at 6 a.m., 7 hours nightly. No more alcohol-induced unconsciousness, energy, could walk up 5 flights of stairs without gasping, could play with nephew without needing to sit every 5 minutes, could think clearly, could focus, health, blood pressure 128/82, HbA 1 degree Celsius, 5.9%, pre-diabetic range, not diabetic liver enzymes, completely normal cholesterol, 189. Doctor said, whatever you're doing, it's working, continue. But most importantly, he trusted himself now. Every day for 365 days, he'd made small promises and kept them that built something money couldn't buy. Self-respect 1 year ago, though Kenji had been dying, sentenced to 5 years maximum, broken, addicted, hopeless. Now he'd added decades to his life, reversed diabetes, healed his liver, transformed his body, not through dramatic change, through the microscopic discipline of 1% daily improvement. His grandmother visited his apartment, saw the changes, the organization, the actual food in the fridge, the exercise mat, the journal he'd started keeping. "You look like your grandfather did at 40, she said, tears in her eyes. Healthy, alive, present. It was his sister, Obashan, his journal. Kaizen saved me the same way it saved him. No, the journal showed the path. You walked it. Many people would have read those words and done nothing. You acted for 365 consecutive days. That's what saved you." That evening, Kenji opened the last entry in his grandfather's journal. "If you've reached 1 year, you understand now. Kaizen isn't just a system for factories or weight loss or quitting smoking. It's a philosophy for life, for continuous improvement, for becoming 1% better every day until the person you were is unrecognizable. You didn't change overnight. You changed gradually over hundreds of tiny decisions until suddenly everything was different. This is how transformation actually works. Not through heroics, through daily discipline so small no one else notices until the results become undeniable. I am proud of you. Though we may never meet, I know that if you've completed 1 year, you are transformed. Now go continue because Kaizen doesn't end. The 1% improvements continue forever. That's not a burden. That's the path to a life well lived. 1% better today than yesterday. 1% better tomorrow than today. Forever. This is the way." Kenji closed the journal and opened his own, the one he'd been writing in for 6 months, recording his journey, his lessons, his transformation for future reference, for accountability, and maybe one day for someone else who needed these words the way he'd needed his grandfather's. He wrote, "1 year ago, I was dying. Now I'm living. Not because I made dramatic changes, because I made microscopic ones sustained daily with mechanical consistency. This is Kaizen. This is the way. 1% every day forever."